Yo, what's going on, guys? This is your boy Trillionaire Mac. Welcome back to another video. So in this video, we're going to be talking about internal versus external structure, internal versus external liquidity. We may hit on both of those, we may hit on just one. Just sit back, enjoy the video, and let's get right into it. So, internal versus external structure. Now, inside my course, by the way, make sure you guys use YouTube 20. We have 4 days left for 20% off of the course. But within the course, we talk a lot about market structure and momentum. All right, but definitely market structure. I take advantage of 3 different types of market structure. 2 are internal structure and 1 is external structure. But I want to touch on the importance of understanding whether or not you are dealing with internal or external structure. So we're just going to do a quick schematic and then we're going to go live on the charts, actually apply these concepts to the live market. So when you're in an uptrend, as we all know, price creates higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, right? And this pattern continues to replicate until the market is either ready to change trends, consolidate, or continue really. Now, one thing that's really important is when you're within an uptrend, right? We all know that during these pullbacks, right, we have counter trend moves. So let's say we choose that pullback there, okay? Once price actually creates that higher high and we start to pull back, price is going to start to create lower lows and lower highs based on a pullback within an uptrend, okay? Now, why is this important? This is important because during this region here, when price is actually within the pullback, that is where you're going to have price and liquidity being instigated. So what does that mean? What I mean by that is during that pullback, that is when you're going to have future supply being created in order for demand to have a reason to take out supply. Okay, so I'm gonna take that slow. Okay, I'm gonna repeat myself. So when you are actually within the pullback, okay, when you're within an uptrend, it's opposite for downtrend, as you guys know. But when you are within an uptrend and you have a pullback, you're going to have supply that is being respected, right, over demand. You have supply that is being respected over demand, right? So supply is consistently taking demand out, disrespecting demand, and respecting supply. And then, of course, we definitely have some type of supply that came into the market here as well. So when price is actually ready to switch trends, let's say price pulls up, let's say we take out this low here, price trades up, we take out this supply here, okay, then price is going to return to some type of demand that was responsible for taking out that supply, right? And then we look for price to keep moving to the upside. Now, remember these supply levels that were created within the overall downtrend, or pullback, I should say? Well, within those supply areas, you're going to have what I like to call flip zones. Okay, now we're not going to get in too deep with flip zones. And the reason being is because that's going to be a more advanced section that is going to be added to the institutional trading course. All right. But it's basically just supply that is going to later be used in order to instigate demand. Okay, so what do I mean by this? So let's say we break through this supply here. We return to this demand, we respect this demand. Okay, let's say we have more supply here. What price is going to do is it's going to break through that supply here, right? Then we're going to tap into the supply that was created previously within the counter trend pullback, right? Internal structure, internal liquidity. So we're going to tap into this region here, and then price is going to pull back, and then it's going to break, right? Once we react to the supply and create a failure and then break through the failure, now we have demand here. So then what is price going to do? It's going to then come down here, tap into this demand where we take buy positions. Then it's going to tap into this region here. Then what? Then it's going to pull back, then break through. It's going to leave more demand here. Right? It's going to then push to the upside, tap into this region, pull back, tap into demand, break through, right? It does the same stuff over and over and over again. Okay, so when you're within a pullback, when you're creating internal structure, internal liquidity, if you are within an overall uptrend based on the higher time frame, pro trend, okay, then what I want you guys to pay attention to is during those pullbacks, look for, once price transitions from this pullback to pro trend structure, internal structure, which all of my students should know about based on the market structure videos. Okay, so if you have the course, you should definitely understand what I'm talking about. But once we make that transition somewhere within here and we actually get into the market, because usually this is the area that we enter, right? What we're going to do is we're going to look for price to react to previous supply in order to give us possible areas of demand to trade from. Okay, now let's go apply this to the chart. So I know I was kind of vague explaining that. Okay, the reason being is because all of the information in depth is really within the course, but I do want you guys to actually start focusing and looking at these things here. So now what we're going to do is we're actually going to apply it to the real charts. Okay, let's find a good little zone that we can work with. Okay, so it really, let's use this here, right? Because we break to the upside here, and yeah, we can use this for sure. Okay, so I'm just going to use my marker. I'm not going to do an entire, actually, you know what? Let's do an entire markup. Let's do it. All right, so price broke to the downside. We completely broke structure here, all right, creating a down break of structure. Then we push to the upside. We disrespect all of this supply that was created here, okay? And then we had a break of structure to the upside, or what I like to look at it as a possible change of momentum if we're going based off the H4 time frame of expectational order flow changing from downtrend to possible uptrend, but it looks like we just kind of consolidated a little bit and then dropped a little more. All right. Now let's talk about these supply levels. So we definitely have some supply here. All right, let's change this. All right, we definitely have, I would count this as pretty much just a fishnet. There's nothing really there. We definitely have some type of supply here. Okay, and I want you to look at how price interacts at these levels. And don't worry, we are not done. Okay, all right, we're gonna do an entire section. Okay, so we have these two levels of supply that we can see price reacting to. All right, do we create imbalance here? Absolutely. Do we have inducement? Absolutely. Here, do we create some type of imbalance? Absolutely. On the way down, so we have imbalance here. Let's see where else. That's pretty much all we have imbalance, but still it is imbalance. Okay, price reacts. So you see how price pulls into this area, pulls to the downside, creates demand. Right, so we have some type of demand here. Next, we have price does indeed react to something up here within this area, right? It definitely reacts to some type of supply, I would say. And then what happens? We have demand. So we have demand here, and we have demand here. Where else do we have demand? We definitely have demand down here, just like at the very tops we have supply, at the very bottoms we have demand. Okay, so let's see what happens. So we react to this supply here, price pulls to the downside. When it pulls to the downside, demand has to come into the market in order to take out the supply. Demand comes into the market, price continues to push to the upside, right? Same exact thing happens here. We react to some type of supply resting above these highs here. Failed reaction. Price takes out the failed reaction, we leave demand here. Now when price turns over, okay, and we start to switch back to the downside, what's going to happen is price is going to create new supply and react to old demand. So what does that mean? Well, let's look at it. So we push down into this demand here, and what happens? Then we push back to the upside and we create future or possible future supply. Okay, next we push to the downside, we react to this previous demand here, and what happens? And we create future supply. Price traded into and rejected. So now we have supply that was left here, right? Then what happened? Price pushed to the downside here. Okay, and what happened? We reacted to our demand, okay, and pushed to the upside. All right, if we look here, we can see that we have some type of buy to sell wick over here with supply. Okay, now I'm kind of getting into the nitty gritty of things based on the details that I'm seeing. All right, over here. I would prove it to you guys if we were on a mentorship session But since this is a YouTube video and I don't want it to be too long, just take my word for it. We have supply that came into the market with this pivot supply here. We reacted, and then what happened? Demand had to come into the market, and we can see here, price reacts to that demand, create supply in order to break through demand, right? So we create new supply to interact with previous demand, and then it's opposite when you are going the opposite direction. You're going to create new demand to interact with old supply, all right? But I want you guys to go test this for yourself. So let's do refine supply, we react here. Okay, and then it's going to do the same thing, but just flipped, right? So we react to this supply here, all right? Push to the downside, demand comes into the market in order to take out this supply. Okay, so we have demand here. Price pushes to the upside. Let me change this. Right? Price then pushes to the upside. We take out this region here. Really, we didn't take out this full region until price pumped demand here. So we can mark this area as well. Okay, and then push to the upside. Now, once we reached this area here, what did we do? Well, we reacted to previous supply that was created by our previous demand. All right, then what happened? Then we pushed back down into our demand that was created from this supply. Then what happened? Then we push back to the, right? It's the same stuff, literally, guys, over and over. So here, right, we react to this demand again, right, with price pushing down into this demand. It then pushes to the upside. Well, what do we create here? Well, here we create some type of future supply that price is going to react to, right? So this is how I view market structure, okay, mixed with a little bit of my supply and demand trading, okay? But this is basically how I view internal and external structure. Internal structure is going to deal with flips. External structure is going to deal with basically like your swing supply and demand, so to speak, okay, at your extremities and things like that. All right, so I hope this video helps. I know it was a little vague, okay, but I did want to answer a couple of questions that I've been getting on previous videos, so I hope this helps you guys who've basically been asking the same questions or very similar questions on internal supply and demand versus external supply and demand. I figured it would be easier for me to explain internal versus external structure first, and then show you guys that concept mixed with a little bit of supply and demand. And then of course you can add your liquidity on top of that, with understanding that liquidity is going to be resting at the tops and the bottoms of price. So with that being said, I don't want this video to be too long. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. I would love to have you guys a part of the family, and hit that bell notification icon to be updated whenever I upload a new video. Check out the course and all the links down in the description below. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.